Welcome back to my playthrough of World War I, 1914 through 1918. We're starting with game turn 4, the winter of 1915 through 16, the turn in which the Bulgarians enter the war on the side of the Central Powers. And after watching the last video, I've noticed at least one mistake, the main one being forgetting to remove this unit from the board permanently at the end of turn 2, the Russian 4th Army, as it was unsupplied. Any units at the end of a turn that are unsupplied are destroyed. In the case of combat units, they're permanently eliminated. In the case of fortifications, they may be rebuilt as long as they're back in supply. So in order to try to compensate for that, we're building a second Russian army down here. Let's take a look at the crypt track before we officially begin turn 4 in case we want to make any adjustments, and I'm thinking we do. By lending crypts from Italy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say, to Serbia. After looking at the summary of lenders and potential borrowers, we learn that Russia and Italy may lend to all other allies except Britain, the USA, France, and each other. France can lend to all allies except Britain or the US. Britain or the US may lend to all other allied countries, but not to each other. And then for the Central Powers, only Germany may lend, but they may lend to all other Central Powers allies. And then there's a very important rule. Crypts may only be lent to Russia if a sea route through the Dardanelles is open to the Black Sea. Crypts may not be lent via land routes. Note that the only way in which Turkey may ever have more than 6 crypts is if all the excess is borrowed. Alright, so that's another reason to start using sea movement. Maybe too little too late, but we'll see what happens. We'll take the first British army from Le Havre and move it by sea all the way down to the Bulgarian coast. Next we'll pull the Belgian army back to Paris, bring the French 5th in its place, 1, 2, British BEF, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this guy, 1, 2. Over in Italy, we'll simply move this newly built Italian army from Venice up to the border. In the Balkans, we will try to protect our Serbian supply city and pull the, well, let's see. It's a little tricky. Okay, we'll pull the first army back 1 and bring the second army back 1, 2, 3, 4 onto this rail hex adjacent to the city. In the Eastern Front, we have a situation up here. A big gap has formed. So we'll bring our 2 newly built Russian armies to try to defend along the border. There's a 1 hex fortification, but instead we're going to take the every other hex defensive approach with this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3, 4. Maybe we will take advantage of that fortification. And a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to the Central Powers for their movement phase. We'll begin over here in Serbia and move the 5th and 6th Austro-Hungarian armies down towards Niš. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. The 1st Bulgarian army will join as well. 1, 2, crossing the border. And the unit defending Niš has a defensive strength of 4. There's a +1 for terrain, +2 for weather. So they're at a 7. We currently have 6. So let's bring the 2nd Bulgarian army up as well, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. So that brings us to a differential of 1. And I think we'll go ahead and throw in 2 more down from Budapest. And a 1, 2, 3. And Next we'll move the Turkish First Army across the border into Bulgaria to try to block the supply line between Serbia and this British unit. Now over to the Eastern Front. Let's see, we'll bring this unit 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and a 1, and a 2, 3. Now we enter the superior player determination phase, and the allies have more total crypts, so they're the superior player and get to go first in the attack phases. We'll start in the Western Front and make an attack against the German Third Army here. With 3 adjacent armies, the French 4th and 5th armies, as well as this British BEF unit. We're attacking with 12, they're defending with 6 in clear terrain. They get a +2 for the winter turn. So we're rolling on the 4, and we get a 4, which is a 3/2. The Germans will spend crypts to absorb 2 losses, and will apply all losses to the British crypts as the attackers, bringing them down to 10. The Germans are now at 33. Now for the Italian front, we'll attack this Austro-Hungarian unit defending in a 2-strength fortification in the rough. They're defending with 3. They get a +2 for the fortification, +1 for the rough terrain, another +2. Brings them to an 8. We're attacking with 12. That's on the 4 again. Ooh, we roll a 1. It's a 1/3. Austro-Hungarians will spend 3 crypts, bringing them to 25. The Italian crypts goes down to 12. Alright, now over to the Central Powers for their attack phase. We are going to resolve this down here in Serbia first. We're attacking with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They're defending with 4 plus 1 plus another 2, so they're at 7. That's a roll on the 3. And let's go ahead and resolve this. We roll a 4, which is a 3/2. The Serbs can either spend 2 crypts or retreat 2 hexes. They can't do a combination of the 2 because units in an enemy zone of control cannot be displaced. We're going to decide to hold our ground and defend our independent supply city by spending 2 crypts, which brings us down to 3 because we borrowed 5 from Italy, and we'll apply the losses to the Austro-Hungarians, and that brings them down to 22. Now for the Eastern Front, we'll start by attacking this hex, the 10th Russian Army defending the 1-strength fortification of Warsaw. So that 3, 4, 5, 6. We're rolling on the 4. Wow, we roll a 1, which is a 1/3, which becomes a 1/6. 6. The Russians will spend 6. Germans go down by 1. The Russians are now at 27. Next we'll attack this unit down here in rough terrain. They're at 3 plus 1 plus 2, so they're defending with 6. We're attacking with 8, so we're on the 2. And we roll a 4, which is a 3/1. 3/1, which becomes a 3/2. Russian crypts go down to 25. We'll apply the losses to the Austro-Hungarians, which brings them to 19. Next we'll attack this unit up here, the Russian First Army in clear terrain. They're defending with 3 plus 2 for the winter. We're attacking with 8. So that's a roll on the 3. Wow, we roll another 1. 1/3 becomes a 1/6. Russians absorb losses by spending Crips, bringing them to 19, and the Germans will spend a Crip. They're still one above the French. We'll go ahead and make one more attack here, this time across the border with the 11th German Army, and we're targeting this unoccupied 1-strength fortification in clear terrain. So they're defending with 1 plus 2, which brings them to a 3. We're attacking with 4. That's a roll on the 1. And we get another 1. That's 1/2, which becomes a 1/4. 1/4. The Russians will choose to destroy the fortification. Germans may advance, and they'll spend a Crip, bringing them down to 30. Double checking the rules to make sure I can do that before the third attack phase, as it states, the defender may voluntarily destroy an attacked fortification in any phase. So it's just combat units that may not voluntarily be destroyed in the first 2 attack phases. Back to the Allies. For their second attack phase, we'll make the same attack against the German Third Army here. So that's a roll on the 4. We roll a 4. That's a 3/2. German Crips go down to 28. British to 7. And then we'll make a second attack, this time targeting the German 7th Army here in the destroyed French fortification. They're defending with 6 plus 1 plus 2 is 9. We're attacking with 12. That's on a 3. And we roll a 3. On the 3 is a 2/2. Both countries spend Crips to absorb losses. We'll make the same attack here as well. So let's go ahead and roll, and they're defending with 8. We're attacking with 12. That's on the 4. We roll a 2. That's a 2/2. Both countries spend Crips. Italians go down to 10. Austria-Hungary to 17. Central Powers attack phase. Same thing here against the Serbian First Army. They're defending with 4 plus 1 plus 2. And we're attacking with 10. That's on the 3. We roll a 1. It's a 1/3. And the Serbs have 3 Crips, so they'll go ahead and spend what they have, dropping them to 0. The Austro-Hungarian Crips goes down to 16. Over in the Eastern Front, we'll attack the Russian 10th Army again. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a roll on the 4. And we roll a 4, which is a 3/2, which becomes a 3/4. Russian Crips goes down 15. Austria-Hungary 13. Next, a roll against the Russian 5th here in rough terrain. 3, 4, 5, 6. A roll on the 2. And we roll a 2, which is a 1/2, which turns into a 1/4. Russian Crips goes down another 4. And Austria-Hungary down to 12. And then again against the Russian 1st. They're defending with 3 plus 2. We're attacking with 8. So roll on the 3. And, ooh, this time we roll a 6. 5/1, which becomes 5/2. This is really bad because we apply all losses to the German Crips as the attacker. They go down to 21. Russians go down to 9. Back to the Western Front. For the final superior attack phase, we'll make the same 2 attacks again against the German 3rd Army and the German 7th Army. Rolling for this first, a roll on the 4, and we get a 1, which is a 1/3. German Crips drops to 18, and the British will spend 1. Now down here, we are rolling on the 3, and it's a 2. This is a 2/2. Germans spend 2. The French will spend 2 as well. Now over to the Italian front, where we'll attack the 11th Austro-Hungarian Army again. We're rolling on the 4. Wow, we roll a 1, so 1/3. Austro-Hungarian Crips drops by 3, down to 9. The Italians spend 1, and they also end with 9 Crips. Now over to the Central Powers for their final attack phase. We'll start down here in Serbia. Same attack, rolling on the 3. And we roll a 2, which is a 2/2. And this is not looking good. Even though we can retreat back to this hex, since we're out of Crips, at the end of the turn, both Serbian armies will be eliminated permanently for being out of supply, since this Turkish First Army is preventing the supply line from being traced back to the British unit. So for now, we'll go ahead and retreat 2 hexes. These units will advance, and yeah, we'll move over to the Eastern Front. The Austro-Hungarian Crips drops down to 7, and now we'll resolve our first attack in the Eastern Front against the Russian 10th Army again. We're rolling on the 4. Ooh, we roll a 6. 5/1, which becomes a 5/2. Russian Crips drops to 7. We'll apply losses to Austria-Hungary. They're now down to 2. Next we'll roll against the Russian 5th. Rolling on the 2. Oh, we roll another 6. 4/0. Wow. Austria-Hungary goes down to 0 Crips. We'll apply the remaining 4 to the German Crips. Or was it 4? No, I'm sorry, it was 2. So they dropped from 16 to 14. We'll resolve the next combat against the Russian 1st. Or do we want to do that? At this point, we would be rolling on the 3. I don't think it's really going to do anything but drop Russian Crips closer to 0. I think we're going to have to just call it quits and wait for the next turn. Crip allocation time. If we had only lent 2 more Crips from Italy to Serbia, they would still be in the war. Okay, so let's see. Britain gets 20, so they're not 26. France gets 20, bringing them to 46. Russia 25. Italy 15. Germany 35. And Austria-Hungary 20. Turkey still at 6. Belgium still at 4. Let's go ahead and build some armies. Here we are at the end of turn 4. The British have built 2 armies, one in Lviv and one right next to it. The Germans built one in Berlin, and we're permanently eliminating both Serbian armies. Let's get started with turn 5, the summer of 1916. The Romanians do enter this turn because the Russians are still in Austria-Hungary. There are 2 Romanian armies, and they start with 0 Crips. For Allied movement, we're going to try something maybe stupid by moving the British First Army through Greece, a little further into Bulgaria, which means that we've invaded Greece, which means that the Central Powers get these 5 victory points towards their total at the end of the game. And now these 2 Greek armies are active. But Greece has 0 crypts at the moment. And then we're going to take the newly built 2nd British Army from Lav and use sea movement to land in that Bulgarian coastal hex. We're doing this because we urgently want to open up a supply route to the Black Sea so that we can start lending crypts to Russia. So we'll see how that works out. We'll move the British 3rd Army through Lav to this coastal hex, also resource center. I'm really torn as to what to do with the Romanians. I'm going to try something very risky because I'd like to help the British out against the Turkish 1st Army so that we can start landing more British units here on the Turkish coast. So without thinking too much about it, we're going to go ahead and try it out and see what happens. 1, 2, 1, 2. In the Eastern Front, we'll simply move the Russian 1st Army up a hex. 1, 2. Now over to the Central Powers for their movement phase. The 1st Turkish Army is now out of supply, so we'll bring the 2nd into the supply city. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll bring the 1st Greek Army over along the coast. 1, 2, 3. 2nd Greek Army will move up as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll have the 14th Austro-Hungarian Army move toward the Italian front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to Trieste. And then we'll bring the Bulgarian 1st Army, actually maybe the 2nd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the Austro-Hungarian 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th Austro-Hungarian Army will move through Budapest by rail towards the Russian front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On its next turn, it may be able to make it as far as Odessa. And then what to do with the 1st Bulgarian Army. We'll move it back through Bulgaria to try to put pressure on the Romanians. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over in the Eastern Front, we see that there's this big gap now. All of Romania is deserted, leaving the back door wide open into Russian territory. Let's see if we can take advantage of that. We'll bring the 2nd Austro-Hungarian Army over onto the rail hex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Across the border. Then we'll bring the newly built German army from Berlin by rail. 1, 2, 3, 4. Phew. Okay, superior player determination phase. And again, the Allies go first. So let's begin in the Western Front, as we usually do, with our first attack against the German 3rd Army there. We're attacking with 12, they're defending with 6. Let's roll on the 6, and we got a 4, which is a 4/2. German Crips goes down to 42, and we'll apply the losses to the French Crips. They go down to 42 as well. Next we'll attack the German 7th. We're attacking with 12, they're defending with 7. It's on the 5. And we roll another 4, 3/2. We'll apply those losses to the Crips again. Germans go down to 40. French down to 39. Next, the Italian front. First we'll attack the 11th Austro-Hungarian army. They're defending with 3 plus 2 plus 1, that's 6. We're attacking with 12, it's on the 6. Oh, we roll a 6. It's a 5/1. Italian Crips drops to 19, and Austro-Hungarian Crips goes down to 19 as well. I think we'll go ahead and attack the 7th army. We're attacking with 6, they're defending with 4. Let's roll on the 2. And we roll a 5. 3/1. So we'll bring Italian Crips down to 16, Austro-Hungarian Crips down to 18. Next over to the Balkans, where we will be attacking the Turkish First Army with 2 British armies and a Romanian army. They're defending with 4 in clear terrain. We're attacking with 2 4s and a 2. That's a differential of 6. Let's see what we get. The Turks have 6 Crips, so we need to roll a couple of 3 results or a 4 and a 2 here in these first couple of attack phases. Wow, we roll a 1. 1/4. Wow, okay, so British Crips, well, Turkish Crips goes down to 2 from a 6. They're in trouble. British drop from a 16 to a 15. Now over to the Eastern Front, where we will begin the first inferior player attack phase. So, let's go ahead and begin our attack here against the unit defending Warsaw. They're defending with 3 plus 1. We're attacking with 10. So roll on the 6. Losses are doubled. Ooh, but we roll a 6. So it's a 5/1, which becomes a 5/2. Russians spend 2 Crips, bringing them to 30. And the Austro-Hungarian Crips drops to 13. Next, our attack against the Russian 5th. They're defending with 3 plus 1 for the rough terrain. We're attacking with a differential of 4. And we roll a 3, which is a 3/2, or a 3/4. Russians spend 4 Crips, bringing them to 26. We'll spend 3 more Austro-Hungarian Crips. They're now at 10. Now we'll attack the Russian 9th. They're defending with 3, we're attacking with 8. That's a roll on the 5. Pretty nice column. And we roll a 2, which is a 3/2, or 3/4. Russians are now at 22. We'll apply losses to the Germans, bringing them to a 37. 2 less than the French. And we'll continue along the line here and attack the Russian 11th. They're defending with 3, we're attacking with 6. That's a roll on the 3. And we roll a 3, which is a 2/2 or a 2/4, bringing Russian Crips down to 18. And have to be careful of applying too many losses to the Austro-Hungarian Crips, since there's activity in the Italian front, where they're rolling on the 3, 4, 5, 6, on the 6. And they have 2 more attack phases left. Worst case 7. And then they're also attacking against the 7th Austro-Hungarian army, so that's a 4/2, another maybe 4. So we have, okay, so let's start applying to Germany. That was 2 losses, I think. Yeah. Bringing them to 35. That was 3 to 6. 3, yes, okay. Perhaps Germany should have lent Crips to Austria-Hungary so that we could feel more comfortable attacking in the Italian and Balkan fronts, but we'll go ahead and skip those and go straight to the Western Front for our final series of attacks. We're targeting the British and the British Crips. So it looks like we have a roll on the 0, and a roll on the 6 that we could do. We'll start by targeting the British BEF unit. It's a roll on the 6. Oh, but we roll a 6, which is a 5/1. Ouch. British Crips drops to 14. We spend 5 German Crips, bringing us to 30. Back to the Balkans for the second superior attack phase. We did really well here as the Allies last turn. Let's see if we can drop Turkish Crips to 0. So we are attacking with 10. They're defending with 4. That's a roll on the 6. When we roll a 6 this time, it's a 5/1, dropping Turkish Crips to 1, and British Crips all the way down to 9. Over to the Italian front, in hopes of doing better this time. Starting with our attack against the unit defending the fortification. We're rolling on the 6. We roll a 3/3. Italian Crips goes down to 13. Austro-Hungarians spend 3 as well. They're now at 7. Awfully low. Second attack against the 7th. A roll on the 2. Wow, we roll a 1. 1/3. Austro-Hungarians spend 3 more, bringing them to 4. Italians go down to 12. Back to the Western Front. We're going to break our attacks up into smaller groups this time, now that the Germans are substantially lower than the French in the Crip track. So second army is our first target. They're defending with 6. We're attacking with 8. That's a roll on the 2. We roll a 3/2. Germans will spend 2, bringing them to 28. The French will spend 3. They're now at 36. Second attack, now this time against the German 3rd, but only with 2 adjacent armies. Rolling on the 2 again. And we roll a 3 again. 3/2. Germans drop to 26. French are now at 33. Our next target is the German 4th in rough terrain. Let's roll on the 1. Oh, and we roll a 1. 1/2. Germans drop to 24. France is at 32. Our final attack against the German 7th. Still with 3 adjacent armies. We're attacking with 12. They're defending with 7. So let's go ahead and resolve this. And we roll a 1. 1/4. Wow. 1/4. Germans spend 4. They're now at 20. France is down to 31. The second inferior attack phase. The Russians are at 18 Crips, so I don't think the order of our attacks matters quite yet. Let's go ahead and start up here and move our way down. We're targeting the Russian 11th. Let's roll on the 3. We roll a 3 2/2, which becomes a 2/4. Russians spend 4 Crips. They're at 14. We'll apply our Crip absorb losses as the Germans here. Who are now at 18. Next this. So that's a roll on the 5. It's a roll of a 5 as well. 3/2, which becomes a 3/4. Russians drop to 10. Germans will spend 3. They're now at 15. Next here. Roll on the 6. Ooh, we roll a 5, which is a 4/1 or 4/2. Russians drop to 8. Germany 11. Last attack here. Yeah. Okay. So we are attacking this 5th Russian army. They're defending with a total of 4, so we're rolling on the 4. And we roll a 2, which is a 2/2 or 2/4. So Russians end at 4 Crips. Germans at 9. They'll be making no attacks in the Western Front this turn. Next, the Balkans. So this is the third and final superior player attack phase of game turn 5. We're starting down here in Bulgaria with an attack against the Turkish First Army. Turkey currently has 1 crip remaining, so rolling on the 6, we'd like to roll 4 or less. Let's see what we got. Oh wow, it's a 1. 1/4. Okay, so wow. Lots of 1s and 6s rolled this turn, it feels like. So, Turkey must apply 4 losses. They'll spend a crip. So they have 3 losses remaining, which they'll try to take in retreat hexes. They can go through this unit 1, and then 2, and then wind up here or here. They'll choose this hex because if they're here, then the allied player during their movement phase will not be able to land east of this unit. So that's as far east as they'd be able to land along the Turkish coast if we're here. So let's go ahead and move. Friendly units suppress enemy zones of control for purposes of retreating. 1, 2, 3. Towards our supply source in Constantinople. We may advance, and we'll advance the British first. This unit will have to stop here as it's in an uninvolved friendly units, Turkish units zone of control now, and we're leaving the British second there to maintain our connection for supply to the western map edge. And then we will apply 1 loss to the British crips. They're down to 8. Over to the Italian front, we see that the Austro-Hungarians are down to 4 crips above on the crip track. Germany's all the way down at 9, so they really couldn't have lent very many to the Austro-Hungarians, but perhaps a few would have helped and made a difference, because at this point it's looking like the Italians might be able to destroy the 11th Austro-Hungarian army and or force the 7th to start retreating. Let's see what happens. We'll start with our attack against the 7th. A roll on the 2. We roll a 3. That's a 3/2. So the Austro-Hungarians spend 2. And they're down to 2. And Italy will drop to 9. And then we'll attack this unit. And that's a roll on the 6. We roll a 4, which is a 4/2. Wow. The Austro-Hungarians looked out. They had just enough to hold their ground without being destroyed. 4/2, was it? Italian crips drops to 5. Same thing over here as we did last time with the French alongside the British. Up and down the line, smaller attacks seemed to be pretty effective last time. And the Germans are down to 9 crips, so they may not have much left at the end during the final inferior attack phase to do anything to the Russians. We'll see. So starting here against the 2nd, roll on the 2. We roll a 4. That's a 3/1. 3/1. Germans drop to 8. French are now at 28. Next, roll on the 2 again. Ooh, we roll a 1. 1/3. 1, 2, 3. Germans are at 5. French at 27. Next, another roll on the 2. You roll a 2, 1/2. Germans are at 3. French at 26. Next, roll on the 1. We roll a 6, 4/0. French drop to 22. Germans remain at 3. Finally, here, roll on the 5, and we roll a 3, 3/2, Germans drop to 1, the French are at 19. Now it's the third and final inferior attack phase, but as you can probably tell, we've run out of steam as the Central Powers. We have 1 German crip remaining. So with that, we'll go ahead and resolve crip allocation and the build phase. The British get 20, French 20, they have a lot, they're at 39 now, Russians 25, Italians 15, Germany 35, Austria-Hungary 20, Turkey back up to 6. So here we are at the end of game turn 5 after the crip allocation and build phase. The Russians spent 5 crips to build this army down by Odessa to try to deal with this sneaky second Austro-Hungarian army. Then I knocked a bunch of counters out of place. Let's see. And then the British built another army here in Lvov. And then other than that, the French lent a bunch of crips to Romania, and Germany lent a few to Bulgaria. So Bulgaria is at 3, Romania now at 8, Britain at 23, Russia 24, France at 31, and Germany 33. The rest are unchanged. So let's go ahead and do turn 6. That's the winter of 1916 through 17, and at the end of this turn is when the Germans will get to build their first Stoßtruppen unit that can utilize infiltration tactics, most likely over in the Western Front, to try to gain more resource centers. We'll see. Allied movement will first sea move this new British army from Lvov down to the Turkish coast, hex 1532, right between the 2 Turkish armies. Next we'll move the 2nd Romanian army through the rough. 1, 2, 3. Next we'll bring this new Russian army by rail towards Odessa. 1, 2, and we'll stop just short of Odessa so that we can avoid being surrounded by the Austro-Hungarian 2nd and 5th armies. And for the same reason, we'll pull the Russian 8th army back. 1, 2. Now over to the Central Powers for their movement phase. And I forgot a really important rule regarding Greece. If Greece is invaded by the Allies, the Central Powers do receive the 5 victory points, but they don't get the armies. Those are removed from the map. So it's a good thing I caught that before it was too late. So now let's go ahead and move our Central Powers units, starting with the units in Bulgaria. And we have a single Austro-Hungarian army with them as well. We're mainly trying to see if we can prevent the British from slipping past us into Hungary, and maybe making it difficult for Romania to draw supply from Bucharest and or Russia. So we're just going to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Since we resolved Central Powers movement after the Allies, we'll go ahead and pull the Turkish First Army back into Constantinople. I think this is a mistake because of sea movement. We'll stop there. Eastern Front. Let's move this 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And once again, the Allies are the superior players, so we'll begin with them in their first series of attacks starting in the Balkans against the Second Turkish Army, which is occupying an independent supply city. We're attacking with both Romanian armies and the British 1st and 4th armies. We're attacking with a total strength of 12. They're defending with 4 in clear terrain on a winter turn. That's a differential of 6. And we get a 3, which is a 3/3, dropping Turkish Crips from 6 to 3 already. British Crips go down to 20. Now over to the Italian front. We will be doing the same thing we did last turn, starting with our attack against the Austro-Hungarian 11th Army, defending in a 2-strength fortification in the rough. 3, 4, 5, 6, plus another 2 for the winter turn, brings them to 8. We'll be rolling on the 4. Oh, we roll a 1. 1/3. Austro-Hungarian Crips drops to 17, and the Italians will spend 1, bringing them to 19. 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess we could roll on the 0 here. Why not? Against the 7th. Oh, but we roll a 6. That's a 4/0, bringing Italian Crips to 15. In the Western Front, we'll be attacking the German 3rd Army, again as usual. They're defending with 8, we're attacking with 12. Let's roll on the 4. And we roll a 1. 1/3. Germans spend 3. The British will spend 1. The Germans are now at 30, and the British at 19. Let's go for another attack. Against the 7th this time. We're rolling on, they're defending with 9, so we're rolling on the 3. And we roll a 3, which is a 2/2. Both countries go down by 2. Germany at 28, France at 29. Now for the first inferior attack phase. We'll just do the same thing, up and down this line. So starting up here against the Russian 11th Army, let's roll on the 1. We roll a 2, get lucky, 1/2, doubled is a 1/4, Russian Crips goes down to 20, and Austria-Hungary will spend 1. They're now at 16. Next, against the Russian 9th. That's a roll on the 3. We roll a 3, 2/2, which becomes a 2/4. Russians go down to 16. Germany spends 2 more. And they're now at 26. Warsaw. 3, 4, 5, 6. A roll on the 4. Another 3. 3/2 becomes 3/4. Russians have 12. Austria-Hungary 13. Russian 5th. Roll on the 2. Ooh, that was a 6. 4/0. Austria-Hungary spends 4. They're now at 9. Second superior attack phase. Plugging along, attacking the Second Turkish Army again with a differential of 6. Turkey has 3 Crips remaining. We roll a 5. It's a 4/1. Turkey goes down to 2. Britain spends 4. They're now at 15. Italian front, same thing. It's a roll on the 4 against the 11th, and wow, we roll a 1. 1/3. Ooh, Austria-Hungary goes down to 6. Italy to 14. Next, against the 7th Austro-Hungarian army, roll on the 0. It's a 2. 1/1. Austria drops to 5. Italy 13. Western Front. Again against the German 3rd. Roll on the 4. Oh, we roll a 6. 5/1. Okay, Germans spend 1, bringing them to 25. Now we can apply the 5 losses as a combination of crips between French and British crips. I think that we will go ahead and spend British crips at this point. That drops them to 10. Second attack will be against the 7th. That's a roll on the 3. And we roll a 1. 1/3. Germans spend 3, bringing them to 22. France 1. Now to the Eastern Front for the second inferior attack phase. Alright, let's do this again. The Russians are at 12 crips, the Germans at 22, Austria-Hungary at 5, so we'll most likely be absorbing losses as the Central Powers by spending German crips. We want to make sure we have enough to be able to withstand the attacks in the Western Front, but we don't have to worry about saving 5 to build the Stoßtruppen unit because that happens after the crip allocation phase, luckily. So let's see. Starting up here against the Russian 11th, that's a roll on the 1. We roll a 5. 3/1, which becomes 3/2. Russian crips drops to 10. Germans spend 3, bringing them to 19. Second attack here. That's a roll on the 3. We roll a 2, which is a 2/2, or a 2/4. Russian crips goes down all the way to a 6. Germany spends 2, bringing them to 17. Next here, Warsaw. We're rolling on the 4. Oh, it teetered on a 1 but landed on a 5. 3/2, which becomes a 3/4. Russians spend 4. They're now at 2, in danger. German crips go down to 14. And then finally here, against the Russian 5th. It's a roll on the 2. Another 5 is a 3/1. Russians spend their 2 remaining crips. German crips go down to 11. Now for the third superior attack phase, and I think during this last set of attack phases we're going to see some changes on the board. Units forced to retreat, others perhaps destroyed. The Allies will still have to roll well down here in Turkey though, as the Turks have 2 crips remaining, so on the 6 that means a roll of 3 or less. And we roll a 3. Barely enough to cause the second Turkish army to be destroyed. We remove this from the board, and We'll spend 3 British Crips. They're now at 7. We may advance after combat. We can let's bring the first British army over, crossing the border to occupy the independent supply city. Over to the Italian front, the Italians have 13 Crips. The Austro-Hungarians are all the way down to 5. So our 2 attacks have been against the 11th and 7th Austro-Hungarian armies. Against the 11th we were rolling, it was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the 4. So most likely a loss of 2. And here it was on the 0, I believe. So the Austro-Hungarians will have just enough to be able to withstand this attacks, but we'll go ahead and do them so that those Crips can't be spent during the Central Powers' final attack phase in the Eastern Front. So we'll start with this up here. Roll on the 4. Ooh, and we roll a 6. 5/1. Austro-Hungarians spend 1 Crip. Italy goes down by 5. They're now at 8. Second roll on 0 now. And we roll a 1. 1/2. The Austro-Hungarians spend 2 more. They're now at 2. And Italy is now at 7. Since it's a winter turn, we can't really break these up into smaller battles, so we're going to go with the 2 big ones. One against the 3rd, one against the 7th. So the first one will be a roll on the 4. And we roll a 3, which is a 3/2. Germany spends 2, they're now at 9. France goes down to 25. Second attack, here on the 3, we roll a 4, which is a 3/2. Germany spends 2 more, bringing them to 7. France drops to 22. Now to the Central Powers for their final attack phase. Let's see. They have a total of 9 Crips remaining, 7 for Germany and 2 for Austria-Hungary, while the Russians have 0. And the Russians can only retreat up to 4 hexes when applying losses. So it has to be in as straight a line as possible, and I think that can go, for example, this way or kind of in a zigzag pattern. It's equidistant to the eastern map edge either way. So yes, we're going to be attacking the unit defending the fortification hex of Warsaw. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a roll on the 4. We roll a 3, which is a 3/2. Now that's a 3/4. 4 hexes. That's an awful lot to retreat, especially considering that units can advance. We won't be retreating through a friendly zone of control, so they would be, I don't think, I mean, I guess we can go there, but then this 9th Russian army would be in trouble and out of supply when they are attacked. So I think we are going to just destroy the unit. It's in supply and it can be rebuilt instead of retreating 4 hexes. Germans advance, and Warsaw has fallen. Okay. We'll spend the last 2 remaining Austro-Hungarian Crips and 1 German Crip. They're now at 6. And we'll go for an attack against the Russian 9th. 3, 4, 5. A roll on the 3. We roll a 4, a 3/2. So another 3/4. I I really don't want to retreat 4 hexes. We're going to retreat like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Germans may advance. 1, 2, 3. They'll have to stop in the zone of control of the Russian 11th, which is still in supply thanks to the 6th here. 1, 2. And the Germans spend 3 crypts, bringing them to 3. Next, we'll attack the Russian 5th. 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a roll on the 2. If we roll a 6, we're in trouble as the Germans. And we roll a 5, which is a 3/1 or 3/2. This unit will retreat 2 hexes, I think. Yes. 1, 2. This unit will advance and must stop in the zone of control of the 7th. German crypts drops to 0. Now for the crypt allocation phase, Britain gets 20, brings them to 27, and France 15. Where are they? They're already up at 22. 37. Russia 20. That's not a lot. And Italy 15 more. It's 22. Germany 20. Not a lot either. Austria-Hungary only 15. Turkey's back up to 6. And we can build new units. So here we are at the end of turn 6, the winter of 1916 through 17. After the crypt allocation and build phase, we built 2 new units, another British army in Love, as well as the German Stoßtruppen in Frankfurt. That brought British crypts down to 22, and German crypts down to 15. So that'll do it for this video. We have 4 turns remaining. I'm hoping to cram that into one last video and try to post it up as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.